The expectation of change that Mexicans have will become a reality, and the first manifestations of a new regime are already being presented, so the Mexican government will have increasing legitimacy. In the early days of the new government, the chief executive has the reins of power and will offer security and protection to Mexicans. This was highlighted by President Andres Manuel López Obrador during the first morning press conference he offers as president, at the end of the meeting with the Security Cabinet. After informing that these meetings with the media will address any issue of interest, in addition to security, López Obrador took stock of the first days of his administration. We started the government without problems on Saturday and have been working. Yesterday we were at Campo Marte, at night in Veracruz with Governor Cuitlahuac Garcia. Accompanied by members of the Security Cabinet, the head of the federal executive announced that yesterday 35,745 elements of the military, naval, and federal police were deployed throughout 150 coordinations in the country. These groupings are being strengthened with the support of state and municipal police who, voluntarily, by decision of local authorities, are being integrated into these coordinations. He added that the federal government has begun the review of the crime, and the first task will be to have a reliable source to know the behavior of crimes committed in the country in the last 24 hours. Today we were presented with a scheme to see the trends. I hope it normalizes before the end of this week. The information will always be available. In that sense, he informed that the preliminary information of the last day indicates that the number of homicides was reduced according to the report. The source is being verified. The average is 50, is the general. He added that this day 29 state committees were integrated into the security work of the Federation. Today 2 more are installed and an agreement is being reached with the governors. Asked by the media about a possible disarmament policy by establishing contact with members of the crime, the president said, "We are not going to establish any type of illegal agreement. We are very clear that there has to be a dividing line, a border between authority and crime. When there is no longer that border, there is no longer the authority. We will ensure that authority is respected. I have the reins of power in my hands." The balance of President López Obrador on the third day of his term is, we begin, well, I have the reins of power in my hands, that is, there is a government in Mexico and it is a government to give security and protection to Mexicans, to let hope remain. The expectation of changes will become a reality. Each time we will have more legitimacy. There are those who do not want to see it, but reality is going to be imposed. He said it should not be overlooked that we are facing a regime change that will make the transformation a reality. Tell me if it is not a change. Yesterday I went to Jalapa without the presidential general staff by commercial plane and returned the same. You could have information about the presidential plane that is leaving today, because it is going to be sold. What is not change? I ask our adversaries, that I am here, informing them how I am doing it. I feel safe and protected to carry out the fourth transformation of the country. To the question about opposition videos that try to relate it to other types of regimes, the president replied that they begin to be opposition, that is also a good exercise. They have not been opposition for a long time. Since that party was founded they were not opposition, especially since '88 it became a regime party. How good that they are now returning to their origins as an opposition party, and added that, regardless of the critical, the federal government will respect the freedom of opinion, there will be no censorship. We are good and good, we will not get angry. Texcoco co-investors are guaranteed their shares. On the other hand, he referred to the procedure that follows regarding the cancellation of the airport in Texcoco, reiterating the commitment not to affect investments and act in accordance with the law. It is our word that shareholders do not lose these investments. It will guarantee everyone the support of the actions for investors and contractors. He pointed out that tomorrow the head of the Ministry of Communications and Transportation, SCT, will expand the information on the subject, but said that the airport trust in Texcoco will continue to operate to respond to the commitments made with investors, without affecting the plans of construction of the new airport in Santa Lucia. The trust continues until the whole process that has to do with the investments is finished. The president was accompanied by the head of the National Defense Secretariat, Sedena, Luis Crescencio Sandoval Gonzalez, Secretary of the Navy, Simar, Jose Rafael Ojeda Duran, Ministry of the Interior, Olga Sanchez Cordero, Ministry of Public Security, SSP, Alfonso Durazo Montano, and the person in charge of the Office of the Attorney General's Office, PGR.